friends, and welcome to the Separated at Birth podcast with your hosts, Katie Martin and Karen Burke-Brown, the podcast where we find alignment in the most unlikely places, proving that lightning can strike anywhere at any time, weaving together a world of middle-age empowerment as single moms, businesswomen, and creatives, finding alignment navigating relationships after divorce, raising kids, building businesses in the creative space, and doing the hard work of unearthing our very best selves in the process and having a lot of mother effing opinions about it. So let's go. We're so stoked to have you here. Let's get into the episode. Well, here we are. It's been like about
we're like, yes, no.
A mountain to climb here, but we're here. We've made it. We made it.
Now. Yes, no, not now.
We're just going to preliminarily apologize to all you listeners out there for what's about to happen. But I am Katie Martin, and this is my illustrious partner, Karen Burke-Brown.
I'm here.
Welcome to our Hot Mess podcast, the show where we are going to try to unpack, middle age, personal lives, kids, being creatives, being business owners, and how in the hell two girls from opposite states that never met each other ever in life, by the way of the algorithm, happened to collide and realized that we were literally separated at birth. We were literally like sisters from another mister, all the way down to the fact that we share a birthday. I mean, it's freaky. We're gonna tell you the story. So this episode, being episode number 1, is the Genesis episode of how Karen and I met.
How we came to be,
how our worlds collided, and how we slowly started to have this revelation that we were literally cut from the same cloth in so many honestly freaky ways. And now, however many years into our friendship, 5 maybe? Yeah, 5 years into our friendship. She's seen me through surgeries. She's seen me through heartbreak. She's seen me at my worst and my best, and she still keeps coming around. So, she's desperate. It's fine.
Only fair. You've seen me at, I haven't had surgeries, but I'm sure they're coming because I'm significantly older than you. So I'm sure I have surgeries on their way.
I'll take care of you, babe. You know it. I'm just so yeah, I know. I'm so blessed to have her in my life. I know, it's like any other relationship. When you both feel like you're the lucky one, then, you've struck it rich in terms of a very beautiful relationship. So we're going to unpack how we met, how we had these revelations, and really what we want to serve up to you guys in the episodes that are to come. We've actually recorded a few of them already, but we have to kind of go back to the beginning and talk about how it all started, to provide some context and some groundwork for, everything that is to come. Essentially what we, in all of our girlfriend talks, we just kept saying, we should do this on a podcast. We should just do this on a podcast. So I don't think
there's something here. People want to know this.
Yeah. So really, I hope that as listeners, when you're out in the world and you're listening, if we get anyone listening, that you're
other than just the dog,
right, in your car or walking or, however you consume podcasts, that you are literally like pounding your fists and going, oh my God, girl, me too. I've dealt with that too. And that we have some factor of relatability in your lives. And that maybe some of the hardships, Karen has really walked me through so many fires, and I just don't know how I would have coped with my life without her in it. And so much of the advice that she's given me, I feel like you guys deserve to hear too. So we're going to unpack some of that stuff. But anyway, Karen, will you introduce yourself for our fellow listeners out here, our beautiful, the legions of people that are going to be listening to this? Tell them all about you and who you are and what you're about.
I am just little old me. I am a mom of 3, Mimi to 1. There's actually another one on the way, but nobody knows that.
You're a hot grandma.
So, yeah, some people say that, but
I'm not a hot grandma yet.
Your days are numbered. It's coming.
I know. No, I know.
But so I'm a divorced mother of 3. unfortunately, but fortunately too. So
Mhm.
I think that's a lot of how we kind of found our friendship or discovered each other, because we have been through a lot of the same things. We do have 3 kids and all that kind of stuff. But I am a marketing director by day. I also have a business where I do styling. I call it style coaching, where I help people find their style. I shop for them, create outfits out of, one piece, or 2 pieces, and try to make, multiple looks out of just one particular piece. Um, that was born out of retail, where I was in retail pretty much most of my career, as an adult, and had people kind of come in and specifically ask for me. And if you've seen What Not to Wear, it's like that, but I'm just by myself. So I'm kind of goofy and helpful. But at the end of the day, people walk away from that hopefully coached to know kind of what their look should be and their sizes and things like that. So
Mhm.
that's kind of my other gig that I do. Um, Really, I'm just me, man. I'm just trying to make it. And I think again how we sort of found each other, because I've been through a lot of the things you were just starting to go through. And
Mhm.
so I think I was I don't know, like a touch point in a way to be like,
Mhm.
hey man, I feel you. And not to say I know what you're going through, but I'm like, I
Oh
just
man.
discovered some of these things myself and these
Yeah.
personalities, and this is what's worked for me. And so me kind of coming out of different things and seeing you. So like I had like a 30,000 foot view, and I was like, wait a second. And so we have very sort of similar lives in that they're parallels in a way.
Yeah.
Um,
So
but
we
yet
have the same
we've
birthday, but there's
intersected.
this
Yeah.
5 year age gap where Karen has been just that beautiful, like sibling almost to me that I don't have an older sibling and or a sister for that matter. So, you know, it was
Yes, for
almost
sure.
freaky for her to see like history repeating itself in my life for her and being like, I just went through this.
Yeah. And
So
it's anyway, that's me, and just trying to make
Karen
it. I live in
Karen lives in
Texas.
Texas. Yes, we should say that. Karen lives in
Was
Texas.
not born here, but hopefully
It's been
will
home
die
for a
here. I
long
don't know,
time.
maybe not. Yeah,
I'm gonna
I feel like a Texan.
we also have a deal that if we're both
That is
single
true.
ladies into our like empty nesting years that we're just gonna sell both of our houses and buy the old lady compound and we're gonna live
I'm
together.
like, I'm
I'm
in.
here for
Like,
it.
I'm
Oh,
in.
believe
I'm kind of
me.
in like right now, because my youngest, who's now 16, she's like, let's move to Florida. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always low key looking. I sent you something the other day. I was
I'm
like,
I'm
this is
campaigning as hard as I can without being such a pushy, bossy younger sister. So,
you're like,
but I
you
can
need to
get
be here.
there if you want me to get to that aggressive
Yes.
level, I can do that. So,
I'm just saying, there's movement to be had potentially. And I
hmm
love the beach, but I
hmm
didn't grow up in Texas. I grew up in Arizona, but I do love Texas. I think the people here are amazing. Something about Texas and Florida, very similar.
Yeah,
A lot of
a lot
this,
of
a
Texans
lot
in
of
Florida, especially where I live. So,
yes, but good people, lovely people. And so, but I know you
agreed.
came from a different part of the country, but now we're closer than we were before in proximity, and also like, emotionally we're a lot closer. So,
Yes,
but
agreed.
that's really me. I mean, you know, I'm just trying to make it like everybody else and trying to teach my kids and be happy. And I think you choose happy. And so that's always kind of my mindset. And, we talk about what's really important. And you and I discuss that all the time. And
Yeah,
it was 2 weeks ago, I was bawling on the phone to you. So we're FaceTiming and I'm a wreck.
yeah,
And so you are just as important to me
yeah.
as I am to you. But I think we play that for each other, where we call each
hmm
other on our crap and be like, hold on,
hmm hmm
what are you doing? And but it coming from love, and be like, all right, you're not
Oh
gonna want to
yeah.
hear this, or this is what I see. And you do that for me too. So it's not just like I'm the big sister who knows everything, because I'm just as broken and, kind of floundering some days too. So,
Yeah. Well,
but that's it.
I always make notes here whenever you say things that I want to like come back to. Um, yeah, we are each other's life raft for real. Like,
Hmm.
and I know that that's also a mark of true friendship. One is if you feel like you're the luckier in the relationship, that's beautiful. And then secondly is if you have a relationship in your life where you can say the things to the person that you know is going to be hard for them to hear, but you can do it in truth with love, then that is also just an extraordinary relationship to have in your life in terms of like the criteria of what makes it the best. So, and I love that we
Agreed.
have that. So,
And I think all too
so,
often women are like have this competitive thing, and I am the
mhm.
least competitive person on the planet
And
to, former sales managers, they hated that about me. I mean, I'm like, I want to win things, but for me. So I think especially when, I mean, Katie, you're like an amazingly beautiful woman. And I say that often where I'm like, it's like looking at the sun. I'm like, could you not look like that all the time? And so, but I'm not, but I'm like, man, that's my friend. Like
absolutely. And I feel the
I
same way
love
about
that.
you. Good
Well,
God.
I'm like an old grandma now,
Absolutely. I'm like trying
but
to get my hair to
still,
behave like yours. I'm trying to be
whatever.
Karen Brown
My
here.
hair never behaves. It does what it wants. And that's why I'm
Karen's
like,
got
yeah, we just do it.
these lips that look like they were she's got the lips that people go into their surgeon's office and their
I don't know about
injector's office and they're like, I want that. It's like when I walked in to get my boobs done and I was like, I need 2 Blake Lively's, please, to go.
I've never
That's
heard
what
that.
they,
Okay.
yes. Oh my God. I told Patronella all about Blake Lively. He's like, pull her up. I need to see it in a bikini. I mean, that was the Zoom call. It was so
Oh my
hilarious. And he was
gosh.
like, oh yeah, we can duplicate that. That's what I wanted. 2 Blake I got them. I got the Blake Lively's.
I
So,
mean, I remember meeting him, but I don't remember the Blake. I mean, he didn't, yeah. I
yeah,
was just like listening, like, okay. And
yeah.
that's
He's
the first time I
probably
saw you
looking at your
naked.
lips going, I
Right.
do those for my patients too. They need to
Right.
order. We need to put you in the
Yeah.
file in the Rolodex as a reference.
Right. Right.
So,
Right.
um, I think one of the things too that makes me think about how non-competitive and yet so beautifully supportive of one another we are, none could be illustrated more, I think, than in the fact that I have been writing this style coaching course, which there are key differences in why I'm doing that and what Karen's strength and skill set are. And that is this. Karen can actually look at someone's body and be like, this is how you should dress for your body type. She can evaluate your life, your lifestyle, how you what you need to show up and like what is, if you're a working person or if you're something that's appropriate for your lifestyle, if you're looking to dress for a certain event. She is so good at dressing people's bodies. My the reason I'm doing the course is because I think nobody asks themselves what they want first.
True.
I want people to unearth their own sense of self by way of how they are walking around in the world in their clothes. And so I'm not wanting to necessarily give people style advice. I want them to quiet the noise of all of the limiting beliefs and all the conditioning that they've had in their life to really zero in and hone in on what is going to feel the most authentic to them. And once they're able to tap into that inner self and let that pretty bird out of the cage, then you got to go see Karen and then you go shopping. So for me to call Karen up and be like, yeah, I'm like going to write this style course. She's probably a jealous woman would be like, bitch, you're not qualified for that. But
Yeah. And that's
because I
not
can be
my,
so candid with her and say, this is personal development dressed up in a Cosmo magazine, right? That's really what the course is. It's about understanding yourself and really developing into the Elle Woods that might be inside of you begging to be revealed, right?
and also maybe someone seeing something like, oh gosh, I can't wear that, where you show them, yes, you can. And I
Yeah,
say, how many times can I wear that? You know what I
correct.
mean? Like, how
Correct.
many different
So
ways can I wear that?
without getting caught in that crossfire of what are you doing? That's my idea. We
Right.
actually have the ability, and I think that there's room for us in this exploration of our friendship over the years to come to be kind of a badass fucking team on that because
Definitely.
mine is the why and hers is the how,
Hmm.
the what and the how. So, but you have to get a clear idea of what kind of mark you want to leave on the world first and develop your voice, your inner voice and your who you are at your core. And then Karen can help you go execute that. So even though it looks the same, it's completely different. Two different angles that are
Right.
very important. But again, we don't get caught in the competitiveness of that at all. I think both elements are so key and so necessary. I couldn't look at somebody's body and be like, those pants are 2 inches too short. And if you were just to let out the hem, you would look like a supermodel, but Karen can do that.
Well, and we did that for you in a sense, not in a sense, we did that
Yeah.
where you were still, we can touch on the breakup and stuff like that, but you were going through something where you were still like building your brand. And
Mhm.
obviously everyone's building their brand, but you were, I don't want to say stuck, but you were like, oh, I want to do this. We went through your closet, we cleaned everything out and kept coming back to, hold on a second, this is where we want to go. So you can hang on to these items, but if
Mhm.
Katie Martin Studio is this, if this is how, oh no, I like that. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I bet you will come back to these and be like, oh, wait a second. So
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like
Yeah.
you
It's
have this new
emotional.
vision of
Letting
this is who I
go.
really am.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean, I would be like, "Oh man, I love wearing that all the time." And Karen would pull out the outfit that was this was the idealized version of myself that I was aspiring to become, and she'd say, "This is the standard. This is where we're headed. This is
Right.
the standard of where we're headed. You're still hanging on to these old tired sweatshirts," which I love an old tired sweatshirt, who doesn't? But that is not expressing the version of me that
Right.
I am aiming to be. And so you're filling your closet with a whole host of things that are not speaking to you. And
Hmm.
that is,
Exactly.
it's such an emotional thing. And so that experience that I had with Karen certainly influenced my decision to write that course, and how the emotional piece of becoming and letting go at the same time. It's like taking on new and letting go of old is very, very, very hard. So
And that's why
um
it's coaching. I call it coaching because
yeah.
I give you the tools. You already have what you need. I just kind of like redirect that energy and kind of show. So
Hmm.
if you're dealing with someone and kind of helping them find the essence of them and then come to me, it's like, okay, so we know who you are, then let's take a look at what's in your closet now. Do
Hmm.
we need new things? Can we take what you have and maybe just get it altered? Can we
Yeah. Or
do you
buy
have
a
core
couple
pieces
key
that we need to keep?
pieces
Right.
that can go with your core pieces, right? Just to
Exactly.
refresh the thing. So
Right. It's not a total dump.
we in this 5-year relationship that Karen and I have had, we've really discovered so much about each other that just resonates in terms of why we have become such close, tight friends. And I always, the entrepreneur, the ambitious and sort of like relentless entrepreneur that I am, and I know that she is, I'm like, how can we figure out ways to work together? So through the
Mhm.
the clothing stuff, now this podcast, we're like, okay, this is a really amazing way for us to join forces, band together, and like serve up something that's cool and that is us. So that's kind of where we are now and what we're trying to deliver. But way back when we first met, it was just so cool. I mean, that's the power of social media these days. And why I always tell people, like, the more authentically you can show up online, the more beautiful souls will be really just cherry picked and delivered to you. You just have to be willing to be open enough to receive them. So when Karen DM'd me, it was the haircut. It was the short
It
pixie
was.
haircut that just was
The
like, oh,
algorithm was
yeah,
like
baby.
pixie people. And I
Yep.
wasn't hashtagging, I wasn't searching anything. It was just something that, your page came up and I was like, ooh, I'm
Hmm.
always looking for hair stuff. And
Hmm.
I go through, I'll start growing it and then I cut it, but it's certain hair products only work when it's really short. Certain hair
Yep.
products work when it's like kind of grown out and puffy
Oh,
like it
yeah.
is now. And so that's what it was like. Oh man, so great because it is a short hair club. You've
It
got to
is.
admit it's a club
It's like
because you
people
walk
that
into a
wave at each
room.
other when they're driving a Jeep
Yes,
Wrangler. Like, it's the
yeah,
same.
it's
Yeah.
a nod. It's you walk into a room, another short haired girl's like, oh, let me see the back.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
very interested. And
For
so we
sure.
all want to know, what are you using and
Yeah.
is it effective? And what are your bare bones, products? And so
Yeah.
that's how the conversation started. And then I was interested in the makeup. And then we started talking that way and, tried to plan. And I think I bet you can look back in your DMs. I think it was 2018
Hmm.
because in 2019 is when I actually started like sending photos, like, and I was saying before, I was dealing with melasma pretty heavily and was like,
Hmm.
oh my gosh, I have to send a photo with no makeup on and I look so bad. And I was just like, well, here goes nothing,
Yeah.
and, but also knowing like, what
Yeah.
do I have to, I mean,
Yeah.
oh, well, like she
Yeah.
knows, I already told her I have melasma, but it's that thing. You're like, oh my
And
gosh,
I was
I'm,
posting
I'm
pictures of
bare.
my own bare face on the internet. So I think that
Right.
really drops the veil a little bit on terms of the
Right. And
momentary
you often
anxiety that
do
people
that.
have that. Yeah. Yeah. I
And I
have
think,
to. Otherwise, no one's going to send me their pictures. No way.
right. And that also makes you very approachable, I think,
Mm.
too, because I'm like, okay, I won't do that.
No,
You will
but
not catch me barefaced ever,
yeah, I can't
So,
ask people to do what I'm asking them to do if I'm not willing to do
right.
it and do it
No,
publicly.
totally agree.
So,
But that also kind of goes back to that competitiveness, knowing that you are approachable. That's why I was like, okay, here's a picture of my ugly face.
yeah.
Because that's how
Yeah.
my skin was so awful then. And
Oh.
so but I think that's when I first reached out
Hmm.
was 2018. And
Yeah.
then 2019, I was in the middle of a divorce. I had left my ex, and you and I started talking more, but
Hmm.
it wasn't like anything,
We weren't really
heavy duty or anything.
dishing on our personal lives too heavy
No,
or anything, you know.
not at
But
all. But
like,
then later in November of 2019, we had texted because you had sent me makeup, and I was asking for like, okay, I need help with this.
yeah.
And we kind of talked back and forth, and I had gone on a date with someone, and you were like, oh my gosh. And I sent you a picture saying, okay, this
Yeah.
is a mixture of the new makeup and kind of some of my old makeups until I
Yeah.
figure out how to use it. And
Yeah.
it was just like, then we
And
were talking all
you
the
send
time.
me these pictures and I'm like, she is such a smoke show. Like this guy, whoever he is, better like get his shit together because she's such a rock star. Like, don't waste your at bat here, buddy.
And
She got
then
to keep
when
her.
And then when did you move to Florida?
I
Did you
moved to
move in?
Florida. Yeah. So I guess I should kind of maybe introduce myself a little bit.
Right.
I'm Katie Martin. I was a photographer for 14 years, turned like accidental makeup artist, network marketing professional. Yeah, I met this makeup company on a set one day back in 2017 and just said yes on a whim. Didn't think I was starting a new business, just thought I was, buying a tool for the business I already had. And, through wading through, I also have three children and they're exactly the same as Karen's, boy, girl, boy. Like again, so many freaky similarities that we have. Also divorced. I'm 45 years old, about to be 40. We're both about to be 46 and 51. So we're very excited that
Yes.
we share that birthday. We're both Capricorn energies and very
Mhm.
type A, ambitious people. And moved to Florida, moved from Maryland. I lived in Maryland for 14 years, had my studio there, had my babies there, was just really ready for a change of pace. And then when COVID happened, we kind of hunkered down in the panhandle of Florida for about a month in April of 2020, right when things were getting into lockdown. I'm like, well, hell, if the world's going to hell, if this is it and this is the end of days, I'm going out somewhere nice. So we just my ex-husband and I, who I'm still very good friends with, just came down, rented a place and thought this feels good. This feels good. So went back to Maryland, packed everything up, came back here in August of 2020, which was a godsend because my kids never missed a day of school in Florida. I mean, we were like cowboys down here. Everything was open, everybody was masked up, but no one was remote learning. And thankfully, like moving my fit family, my kids got to go to school and make friends. So they would have been in isolation and in a new state and a new place for such a long time had that not happened. So very grateful for that. And so that was 3 years ago and so I've been in Florida for 3 years and Karen came to visit me the very first
That
time in
summer, right?
2020.
Wasn't it
Yeah,
2020? Yeah.
late.
Yeah.
I guess it was, I don't know, August, September, something like that. I don't know, somewhere in
It
there.
was, I think it was August, because and I actually went on vacation in Florida.
Hmm.
I was like, oh man, we go to Florida. That's kind of a place that
Yeah.
we've been going the last couple of years. And we had skipped 2018.
Hmm.
And so 2019, I'm divorcing. And so I'm like, we're, wait, did I come out? I didn't meet you in 2019 though. Did we meet each
No,
other in 2019?
no,
No,
no.
no, no, no. It was
I
2020
wasn't
for
in
sure.
Florida
2020.
yet until
That's
2020.
right.
Yep.
So that summer of 2020 is when we first met.
Mm-hmm.
in person.
It
And
had to
that
have been
was,
after August because we came back down in August and I think I wasn't really like seasoned with where to go and what was going on until like maybe even September or October. Maybe it was October.
no, I came down in the summer. We were there. It was probably August though, or it was like the last week of July or something, but
Hmm.
because my kids had to be in school, like
Yeah,
we usually start school like the first or second week of August.
something.
So, but that
Anyway.
we definitely had face to face, and I was in
Yeah.
Pensacola. She was in
Yeah.
Santa Rosa. And
Yep.
it was like, oh, it's, I don't know how many miles. It's not that far, but it took me a long time
It took a
because
long time.
everybody and their brother is there during summer. And I was like, texting, I swear I'm still coming. You're like, are you sure? I'm like, I'm already on the road.
Yeah.
I'm not turning
We
around now.
just
So I left my family on vacation and like the hotel. And I'm
It
like, you
was
guys
such
go
a
play. I'm gonna go
thrilling
hang out with my
time.
friend. It
Yeah,
was
to
fun.
be able to say like, oh, I've met this person through the power of social media and we've been friends for like
Yeah,
2.5 years and to be able to like hug necks for the very first time in person was really, really thrilling. Um,
it was fun.
and I
I mean,
remember, well,
yeah.
the day didn't quite turn out as Sound of Music as we expected it to, but you
But you
know,
know what? I
that
think it was supposed to happen like that
absolutely. So, well,
because yeah,
we can unpack that. I don't mind
yeah,
unpacking it. So,
yeah.
well, I was in a very tumultuous relationship at that time and did not realize, like, you know, when you're in a relationship with someone that it makes you constantly question, like, is it me? Is there
Am
something
I
wrong
the
with
trouble?
me? Am I the problem? Like,
Yeah.
it really does put you through a lot of like dysregulation and I truly actually think that what happened that day on the beach was so meant to happen because Karen had been through something so similar
Hmm.
that I don't think there would have been another more qualified person to kind of hold my hand and walk through that with me and help me like calm the hell down. So it was just weird. Like I was had my backpack on and because Karen and I had met on Instagram and a lot of my life is on Instagram, I was very excited to come meet her. And I had like my sunglasses on and I had my phone in my hand and my backpack on and I'm like trucking up to the beach
We're
and
meeting at the beach.
we're
She
literally
even brought
meeting.
me a chair.
Yeah,
She
I
brought
was
me
like,
a
we're gonna meet
chair.
at
She
this.
brought beer.
Oh yeah, we had the seltzers on ice in my
Yeah.
backpack. I was ready to go. And it was just ready to have some cool girlfriend time.
Just actually
And
meet in person
yeah,
and,
I was so
chill.
excited. And you know, I wasn't we were kind of not dating at that point. We were on like a break and not together, but there was some messages that were popping up in my
He
DMs
was
from
keeping tabs,
yeah.
making sure you knew where that he was watching
Yeah.
and,
And
yeah.
so really when I look back like I'm like he didn't really have any right to pop up out of nowhere and say things to me because we weren't dating. We were not together at that time. And but it was interesting because like when you're holding your phone out and it's broad sun, you just can't even their phone is so dark, you can't even see like if you're even in the frame. So I'm
Mhm.
like trucking along and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see my girlfriend. I had my jean shorts on and my swim top and my backpack or whatever. And the message that I received was your face,
But
your face is up higher. Like I was trying to show people my boobs on the internet, which was not the intention. I was just excited that I was going to go see my friend. And I'm like tagging Karen and I'm like, I'm almost there. I can't wait to hug your neck. This is going to be like amazing. And then
well, and we were sitting and still hanging out, just kind of like chit-chatting and like getting to know each other in person versus like online. And
yeah.
you showed me how to pee in the ocean. Like I didn't know that was cool to do with somebody that I just met in person,
Yeah.
but I was like, all right.
You pee in the
So
ocean. You have too
so I
many
got to pee. I was
seltzers,
like,
you pee in the ocean.
I'll go pee too.
Where
Cool.
else are
This
you
is
going to go?
cool. Sit back down. We're chit-chatting, and that's when you checked your phone.
I
And
checked
it
my phone.
was
And shame on me for doing it because
no,
I should
it's
have just
I
stayed
mean,
present with you and not allowed that moment to because it really threw me. It really threw
it
me.
was we were giggling, we were talking, we were getting to know each other about like, histories and that kind of thing, and what I was doing in Florida and who I was with and the kids and that kind of thing. And we'd just made plans. Hey, let's go. You want to go grab a bite? let's go eat something. I'm like, well, I'm gonna have a wet bathing suit. Like, yeah, cool. We'll go eat
Mm-hmm.
whatever. I have a couple more hours before I need to be back to get my family or whatever. And I just, I
It was like
remember,
all the air got sucked out of the room.
oh,
And it was like
it hurt me that it hurt you so much because like, man, I recognize that
the
feeling of your
bottom
ass
falling out.
falling out. Oh, it's
Yeah.
when your ass falls out. You're just like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, like someone kicked
Mm-hmm.
you in the stomach
Kicked in the
and
stomach.
it just makes you feel so,
Because
I mean,
that's
the
not
blood
even
drained
what
from
I'm
your
about.
face.
I'm not sitting there like oiled
And I
up
think
on
it
the
was
beach,
more,
like trying to
yeah.
be some sex symbol. I have 3 children. Like, this is, I'm heading to meet a
And
girlfriend. Like,
and
it
you
just,
know what? If you are, so what? If that's what you want
well,
to be about,
it's just an interesting
so what?
situation. And the only reason I bring this up is because it did tether us and my relationship with you. It was such a pivotal moment of the very first time meeting her and then having her bear witness to such a such a hardship in my life in real time. It wasn't me calling her up and being like, "Guess what?" and
Yeah.
venting. It was a bearing of witness to something that was really going on that really had a lot of
That was just the tip of the iceberg,
uh,
kind of,
well,
it's there was just more. And I
there was
think it was
more.
just indicative of kind of the personality behaviors and things that were not okay, and then
Mm.
bring you back in,
I
and then
just
to be
didn't
fine, and
really
then bring you
know
back
how
in.
to, I didn't know how to deal with it. I really didn't. I was
Yeah.
not equipped at all in terms of how to deal with being throttled into that kind of dysregulation so suddenly.
Yes.
And I can still remember the feeling in my body. And I liken it only to, and I'm sure somebody out there, if you've ever experienced this, might be like, oh yeah, I know that feeling. Is like, have you ever been in like a narrow miss of a car accident? This is, I know this sounds extreme for what happened and just getting a
It's
DM, but it is so, that is what it
because
was
it was
felt like.
just the
It's like
tip.
slamming on the brakes and then your body is like shaking and you feel like vomiting. And then you're like, my arm, I remember my arms just shaking and my legs feeling numb and feeling nauseous and just like, I don't, it just really, really rocked me. And
Throws you into a spiral. It's a total head to toe. You
yeah.
think it's just a mind screw, but your whole body is
Oh
like, what
yeah.
is happening?
Yeah.
And
And it
somebody
just,
totally misunderstanding you, putting you in a box that's not like
yeah,
it.
I'm like, that's not
I've
even
been
what
there
I'm about. And feeling so like misunderstood by someone that was supposed to be so close to me. And then it,
or on your side.
you saying like, you've got to block him. It's not worth your peace. And so then I did. And then in 20 minutes later, he's calling me from like a hotel room phone number. It was like, I was just like, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. And it was such a core memory. It was such a core memory. But I say that not to bash this person at all. Like it happened. There's nothing we can do about it. It's,
Mhm.
it's in the past. Any like I don't have any grief or resentment or anything about it anymore. But what I'm saying is I'm grateful that God put Karen in my life in that moment to catch me and say, I know exactly how you feel. I've been in that situation myself.
Mhm.
You and I are meant to be friends. And so when I say Separated at Birth podcast, we have the same birthday, the same shoe size. We love clothes. We have 3 children, boy, girl, boy. We love Halloween as our favorite freaking holiday. Like
That's true.
there's so many things. We both have short hair. We both get our hair cut by the same damn guy we love in Texas. And so, even as our relationship has evolved, I've hopped on planes to come visit her for 48 hours. I'm like, I'm in, I'm out. I got a haircut. I'm out. And she nursed me back to health in her own damn bed. And I flew to Texas to have a major surgery to get the
That
Blake Lively's. I ordered the Blake
and
Lively's in Texas, and my
we
girlfriend's nursing me back to health, the best recovery nurse I've ever had.
we
Um,
hadn't even seen each other again since
mm-mm,
that August visit.
mm-hmm,
So, but we obviously kept in contact and we
yeah,
texted and
yeah.
called and obviously friends online and stuff. But
That's
I
a big
remember,
ask to be like,
well, you
hey, I'm
said,
going to
hey,
fly to Texas. Can you take care of me for a week? Like, I wasn't able to fly home until I got cleared from my doctor. And that is just
right.
something that you can't ask just anybody,
I
you
was like,
know?
well, I've got work in, the city where you're, going to be, and
Yeah,
like,
we were in
I'll make
Houston.
it
You're
work.
in Dallas. Like it was a 4 hour drive, and
Yeah,
she got this rental car that was like a school bus, luxury,
that's true.
SUV, so that I could have an easy, comfortable ride and not zipping around in her, her Mini
My
Cooper.
Mini Cooper,
This
I love that
girl,
car.
she drives like
Love
she's
that
from
car.
the Italian Job. No shit. It's
It's
nuts.
it's a thing.
It's a
It's a thing.
thing. It's a
Well,
thing.
the trip too when you came out. So the I think the funniest thing about that trip was, so you had surgery in Houston.
Mhm.
So you had to be, what, you were there for like 3 days? Was it 3 days we were in that hotel?
Yeah. Yeah, that
And
was a
then
crazy experience. Like they
I had
the
to go
doctor
home.
sent a nurse to the hotel room to check on me to
Yes.
like make sure I wasn't, not like getting an infection or anything, and but the
Yes.
hotel was really close to the surgical center, and after 3 days I was like cleared to leave the zip code, and I could go
Yes.
recover more fully in Dallas where, Karen lives, and then we had to
Well, then it
make that whole
was,
drive back, so that I could
well,
get on a
and then your
plane.
flight got canceled,
Oh
remember? And
yeah.
we turned
Well,
around.
that's Texas weather for you. It's the most you know, like inconsistent,
So drive to Houston from
unpredictable.
Dallas to
Yeah.
get you checked. And they're like, all right, clear for takeoff. And then we take you, go to the airport, and you're like, my stuff's canceled.
Yeah.
My stuff, or I
Sky
think it
turns
got
black
canceled
in
on the
20
way.
minutes. Yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
turn around, drove back from Houston back to Dallas. And I'm
God
like, okay,
damn.
do we fly you back out of Houston? But you ended up getting a flight out of Dallas. But it was like, all right, well, I mean, I had to go back to Dallas anyway. I was like,
The
get
bottom
in.
line is that Karen is a saint. Karen is a saint, and I'm the
No,
needy one in the relationship. That's for sure. We can boil
not
it
at
down to
all.
that. So it's
Not at
interesting
all.
too. One of the things that I respect and love about Karen so much is that anytime that we are really unpacking the troubles in our lives, and this is one thing that she says to me that I find to be so beautiful. And again, I don't know how we can coach up the people that we have in our lives that are there to catch us when we really need support. But if you could offer this, what I'm about to tell you about the way that Karen kind of interacts with me to those support people in your life, I think you would be really, really the better for it. One of the things that she'll always say to me is, I'll talk to her about something that's going on in my life, and she'll say this: how would you like me to respond? It's such a mature, beautiful warning shot. Like I
But
can
I
be,
wasn't always like that personally, because I'm like, I'm a problem solver. Here's what you need to do.
oh,
You need to do da, da, da.
and
I
sometimes
don't do that
people don't need
anymore.
you to fix their problems. They just want
No,
you to listen,
no,
you know?
no. And
And
it took me a long time to learn that. So it's not like, oh, I was
uh,
born like that.
that
It's such
is
a great.
a
No, I
beautiful
learned that.
statement from someone that is really evolved, has done a lot of the work on themselves to be aware enough to not just jump in and be like, and
Oh,
that's I
hell
think
no.
I think girls can be that way where like if you are, if you're venting about your kids or your boyfriend or whatever, your girlfriends are going to be the yes men. They're going to be like, oh, yeah, and they want to rally, and of course they're going to be on your side, which is why you go to them, but not Karen. Karen's the one that's like, how would you like me to respond? Do you want me just to sit here and listen, which I'm happy to do? Would you like me to provide honest feedback? I can do that. Would you like me to actually solve your problem and jump in and like
Right.
do
Because
the
I
things
want
that you
someone
might
to
not
do
have
that
the
for
balls
me.
to do for yourself. I can
Right.
do that and go full like mother hen on you too if you want. So, but she gives me the choice. She
And
gives
it's
me the choice.
perspective, because it's, no, I just want you to listen. I'm like,
Hmm.
okay, I might be chewing the insides of my mouth, but I'm
Oh
I'm
yeah.
listening,
Yeah.
I'm like, mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
But
And sometimes you figure it out on your own. It's not for
hmm
me to be like,
hmm
you need to do, because
yeah,
that's what
sometimes
I
I'm
want to
just
do.
processing, and then the next
Right.
day I'll be like, man, I was really like journaling about this and I needed to like speak it a little bit just to chew on my own cud a little while. And you always give me runway to do that and space to do that. But what I'm saying is by asking that question, how would you like me to respond, is just so disarming and beautiful. And m mature and something that I'm like, man, I got to pick that line up and use it in my life with the people when people ask me for that. Like, how do you want me to respond? Like, that's just so beautiful. It's just so
It's
beautiful.
hard
So it is hard. Hell yeah, it's hard.
because
So
I am a problem solver and I do want to
same.
just, let me
We
just,
both are.
you know what you need to do? You just need to do, you know, like you would for your
Yeah.
kids. And because I
But
think as mothers too, we're not like, how do you want? I'm like, all right, you need to
well,
go do, you know, fix it,
the
fix it.
there's two sides to the fixing, right? We're fixers
Hmm.
in our lives up until this point. That manifests a lot in people pleasing because we're like, I'm just going to fix
Oh,
this
for
energy real
sure.
quick by changing
Hmm.
how I'm showing up, regardless of the responsibility of the other party to show up better, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and there's so many side there's the noble side of being a people pleaser, which is just being flexible and accommodating and like easygoing and like that's
Hmm.
really nice and you know, but then the painful flip side of that is like it's toxic, it's really bad, and it costs you and it costs the people in your life because they're compromising
It's,
for the decisions that you're making that impact them, you
mhm.
know. So
It's a
there's
really interesting thing. You know, you talk about, you know, people pleasing and being evolved. And, you know, being evolved means, yes, doing the work and working on yourself, not just, I really need to work on myself, but actually having, you know, guidance and
Mhm.
professional guidance, not just reading a self-help book, which is very important because I think it
Sure.
opens up your mind. But having someone really offer a different perspective, someone who understands the intricacies of different personality types and trauma and,
Mhm.
you know, sort of
Being
the
bonded to your
rollout from
trauma.
that.
Mhm.
Yeah. And it's what's that could be another episode too, but people pleasing, which I never thought of, is it's it's a form of like being self-absorbed. And I never thought of it that way, but it's
Mm.
and narcissism. And I'm like, well, I'm not that. I don't think of myself like what, but
It's
it's
control. It's you
you're
wanting to
still trying to
control the
control someone's
situation.
perception and you're trying to control someone's perception of you. And I'm like, well, shit. I'm like, all right, I've got
This is really
way more work to
backfiring
do.
on me.
Right?
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
so I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, no, I'm the noble kind of people pleaser because I never, one of the best things I thought my dad ever said to me, which is kind of funny, which he's like, you know what? You're not a pain in the ass. As if
Mm.
some, you know, like, oh man, because it's all
Congratulations.
about,
You're seen
right,
and not heard.
being needless and wantless. And that's
Oh,
just you. And I
needless and
so,
wantless. Congratulations.
and
Oh
I'm
man,
like, oh
that's
gosh,
fucked
that's
up.
not a good place to be. But I still am like,
Mm-mm.
not a pain in the ass because
Yep.
I think of it as, you know what? I can just, okay, it's cool and go with the flow. If someone makes a wrong turn, I don't want them to feel bad. So I think I'm like, it's fine. We don't have anywhere to be. Cool. Oh, you know what? This is a one way. Oh, we're going the wrong way. Oh, this now we're lost. You know what?
Yeah.
If I have to be on a plane, I'm like, there'll be other ones. I missed a plane coming to see you. And I'm like,
Holy
well,
shit. I know.
it's
I
fine.
know.
I'm like, oh,
You
well.
do.
I'm like,
You there's a goodness about being able to roll with the punches. You do that
what
very,
can I
very
control?
well,
And
right?
that's where I come back to. I'm like,
I'm
I
not
can't
that
control the
person.
situation.
I get
I
too
can't,
fiery and hot-headed about all that.
I used to. I just don't. I'm just like, you know what? I need all that energy. I need that for something else.
But
I've
it
got
is
other
control.
things.
It is
No, you're
control.
right. You're right. And I'm
Hmm.
like, oh my, I need to really take a better look at that. And because it's,
Ugh,
I don't want people to think I'm a jerk. I don't want people like I'm not a Karen. I'm not a bitch. You know, it's like,
but you are,
you're gonna
Karen.
think what you want, but I'm not one of
I'm
those
so
kind,
sorry that
you
that
know?
became a thing.
Right. I'm like, I know the
Who
best people
started
who are named
that?
Karen.
I know.
Probably a Wendy. That's who started
Oh,
it. I'm just,
guaranteed. Guaranteed.
I'm just
Screw
kidding.
those bitches.
It's like, just be like, just be a bitch and be a bitch about it. I don't know.
Mm.
Just why does it have to have a name? Because I know lots of Wendy's and Jessicas and Julies who
All
are
those damn
dickheads.
Katies.
But
I actually went to the Mean Girls, the new Mean Girls movie, and the girl that's with Regina, her name is Katie. I'm probably the only woman in America that never saw the first one, which is probably they're like,
oh,
yeah, dummy. Her name's Katie.
oh,
Is
I
it Katie
love that
in the first
movie.
one?
I just remember Regina,
Regina
and
George is the like villain, the main villain.
I do not remember.
I
I
don't
cannot wait
know.
to see it. It's a
It's
musical, though, right?
really funny. It's really funny. I mean, you can
I love the
totally
first one.
tell that Tina Fey wrote that shit.
She's very funny.
You can
Very.
totally tell. And she's in it, and Tim Meadows is in it. And then like
Oh my
all the
gosh.
girls that are in it are not like, the first one it was like Lindsay Lohan and
Hmm.
what's her name? The
Girl from the
Notebook
Notebook.
girl. Yeah.
Um,
Rachel
can't
McAdams.
think of it.
Um,
Yes,
but this cast is just a bunch of like girls that I don't know if they're famous. If they're celebrities, I'm sorry, but I don't know who they are.
we
So
don't know you.
that was kind of good that it was just a good the
I
singing
can't
is
wait to see it.
good, the songs are good. And the best friends that she has, the girl that kind of goes in she's like a new girl at school,
Hmm.
and like they ask her to like they kind of indoctrinate her and brainwash her into becoming like a twin, a clone of
Right,
Regina. And then she kind
right.
of turns her back on the people that actually did befriend her on the first day of school. And
Hmm.
those two characters, there's a boy and a girl. There's like, a black gay bestie, and then like a girl bestie that's like an art kind of emo art girl.
Hmm.
And the two of them were best friends when the new girl came to school, and they kind of took her in and was like telling her to like beware of Regina and like whatever. But
Very cool.
the
It's supposed to be
gay,
similar,
the
but like a
gay
twist or
black kid
something.
is so funny. I'm like, I need a black gay boy to be my best friend. I felt like if I need to check that box in my life, I'm so just I need that
Oh my
energy in
gosh.
my life. It's just so beautiful and totally hilarious and contagious. It was so
I
funny. She's
love it.
like, on Wednesdays they wear pink, and do you have a pink shirt? And of course the emo girl's like, fuck no. And he's like, yes, I do. What shade? Like, I have 100. I just was like, I need that so bad in my life.
Well, there's
So
supposed to be a twist to it, so maybe it was the singing that was the twist, the
I don't
fact that it's a
know.
musical or something. But
Again, I really was living under a rock. I know maybe this is just trauma, but like I kind of had a not a great high school experience with women.
yeah,
I
I
was
didn't.
very good friends with all the guys in my grade, but never the girls. And so when a movie called Mean Girls that comes out and it's all about mean high school girls, I'm sorry, that's not a movie I'm going to see. Like I
Yeah,
might be
no,
the
I
only
get that.
woman in America that it was like, no thanks, not for me. But that was why I was like, fuck that. I don't want to watch that. I'm going to waste 2 hours of my life watching a replay of my high school experience. No thanks.
I
Ugh,
hated high school.
I hated it
You know
too.
what? I still have a group of girlfriends and guys actually. There was a group of us that came out of this elementary school that then went to junior high and then high school
Mhm.
in Arizona that we are
Yeah.
still, there's still about like 25 or 30 of us that we're
That's a
still
good,
Facebook. Used to be classmates.com and then turned into Facebook and
yeah.
everybody, we're all still, I text people pretty much daily from that group.
No
And
way.
yeah, yeah.
College was where I found my people. Penn
I hated
State.
college. I
You
made
did?
no friends in college. Yeah,
Ah,
I hated it.
ah,
Hated it.
those are the best
I have a
days.
couple friends from there that I still, am friendly with, but
Mm,
it just I
my Penn
it was
State
just a rough time.
people are just, I mean, I have like one or two people from high school that I really stay in touch with. One girl that came and she was the outsider new girl and then ended up moving away. But in like the 2.5 years that she was with me in my high school, we were just besties and we're still besties. Gabby, I love you wherever you
Oh,
are. So like
that's
that,
sweet.
those are, and I have one more that was a high school friend of mine who married another guy from my high school, a couple years older, and she and I are still, still friends, and she's great, Nicole.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah, but other than that, like I don't really keep in touch with hardly anybody from my high school, which I loved, growing up where I grew up, but my particular class just didn't, I was just really connected with the guys in my class more than the girls.
Yeah,
So, but
I get that.
I didn't understand having good girlfriends and what those relationships were like and the dynamic, a healthy dynamic of what that could be until I went to college. So
Girls are bitches. Girl, I mean, and
tough.
that
It's
sounds
tough.
bad, but I
And
have
I have a
one
daughter and you have a
girlfriend.
daughter, so it's tough watching it now.
Uh,
Fuck, we could have a
it's
whole slew of episodes on what they're dealing with. It's terrible.
it's
Phones
so
make it
much
terrible.
worse. Yeah.
Phones and
Social
social
media.
media. Oh, it's so bad. So bad. And you know what?
Yeah.
That Mean Girls movie does a good job of kind of illustrating how invasive and how much phones and texting and putting people on blast impacts their lives. It does show that as part of like that extra dynamic of
Hmm.
waging that bitchy war in high school
It's a
and how
cancer.
it
It's
is bad. It's bad. I pray for them. So
I'm not a fan of the
mhm.
phones or the social media platforms on little brains that aren't developed and
Yeah.
they
Yeah,
don't
they
have the
can't.
coping skills yet, you
No,
know?
no, they're not emotionally equipped. They're really
No.
not.
I kind of feel like I'm not emotionally equipped sometimes.
Uh,
So
my life is still a
again,
dumpster fire. I'm not any further along. I'm just
I can't
figuring it out.
say anything. I can't make any comments. They're like, okay, Karen. I'm like, what do you mean by that? And they're like,
Mhm.
Karening. I'm like, don't know what you mean. And they're like, oh, I'm like, yeah, right. Like, I
Mm,
want you to explain it to me
mm,
because you're just being a dick. Like, oh, we're just going to jump on that bandwagon. But I'm like, I
mm.
can't say anything. Like, I can't have an opinion because I'm a
Yeah.
50 something year old
You're so
with
out of
short
touch.
hair. Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Well,
but yeah, no, I think there's something to be said for women friendships and just friendships in general, because I think male friendships are just as important. But I
yeah,
think there's
agree.
a camaraderie that moms have that,
Yeah.
sometimes dads, I have some really great, um, sorry, I have some really great dad friends that have been through it. And I was friends with their wives and now they're
Yeah.
divorced. And now I'm better friends with the husband, like,
Yeah.
or the ex. So it,
Well,
it,
I
it
think
just is what it is.
the gender line gets blurry the older we get. But in any
Agreed.
case, I am so grateful that I have you in my life. I'm so grateful that we can
Likewise.
combine forces and do amazing things like this and kind of offer our stories and our feedback and our troubles and our just reality. I think being authentic and, you know, being protective of our stories and the people in them, but at the same time being honest about some of our experiences because they've just brought so much growth to our lives and in a way that maybe somebody out there can relate and maybe somebody out there can feel a sense of connectedness that they're not alone. And
That's the point,
also,
you know?
yeah,
We're
yeah.
we're not curing cancer here. We're not
No,
trying to like
no. We're having a good
we're not
time.
changing flipping
Right.
the earth on its axis, but there is camaraderie here that
Hmm.
and knowing if someone listens that, you know what? Man, those are
Yeah.
my people, or they don't have it all together,
Right.
or it's
Right.
just knowing that you have someone there and you're not alone. We're all going through it. We are all going through the shit.
We
Just
want to
I
challenge the people listening to find friends like this. Find the relationships where the conversation is different and you really do uplift and elevate one another, where you can unpack the worst things in life together, where you can
yeah,
have and celebrate some of the best things, where you can collaborate and share your creativity and your ideas, where you can build each other up in various ways. That's really, we want to provide stories of truth, stories of healing, stories of inspiration, stories of just relatability here on this podcast. And so we're just so excited that you've joined us today and that you're going to join us in the episodes to come. They won't all be this long. They'll probably be somewhere 20, 30 minutes, but we had to unpack the genesis of how Karen
yes.
and Katie came to be and just how it started. And so thank you again for your time and your energy listening out there. And we'll see you next time.